They will take a look at this business and join this business on their own without you. They will go, this makes sense. Where do I get leads? How do I call them? I'm going to go sell some insurance. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the Base Shop Builders Call. My name is Stephen Yee. I'm excited to be able to share this information with you. I want to dive quickly into this because we are at our own sales conference right now too. But here's what I want you guys to know. Everybody always gets, we've had so many of these calls already, which have been phenomenal, by the way. So many people have told you guys that you have to lead from the front. You got to be able to sell insurance to lead from the front. So many people have taught you how to recruit. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Recruiting and building an agency is two different things, right? If you're taking notes, write that down. Recruiting and building an agency is two different things. Recruiting is bringing them in, while building an agency is keeping them in and getting them paid. See, so many of us have this like revolving door, right? That we churn and burn through agents. And it's because we're really good at bringing them in. And it's really easy to recruit into Family First Life because we are the best IMO out there. However, can you keep them in and can you get them paid? Right. And so everybody has this belief check. And if you don't get them that belief check within the next 2 weeks, they're out. And so here's my best tip that I can give you for agency building. Okay. Agents are like milk. Like you heard me say that, right? Milk, right? Whole milk, non-fat milk, whatever it is. Agents are like milk. They all come with an expiration date. Most milk expires in about a week and a half or two. Facts. Now, here's the thing though. If I have milk and I put it in the fridge, in the system, it'll last me about a week and a half to 2 weeks. If I take milk that I just bought from the grocery store and literally put it outside in the heat in Vegas, it ain't lasting a week and a half to 2 weeks. It's going to spoil right now, right? And so what I need you to understand is, what is the fridge in our situation? The fridge is our system. The fridge is the boot camps, the training platforms, the Zoom rooms that you do, the sales conferences that we're in. If you don't have an agent plugging into the system, they will expire. Does that make sense? And so when I learned that, it helped me actually manage agents and build an agency so much better, because I was like, that person has a target date. I got to get them paid within 24 to 48 hours, because if I don't, guess what? They will expire. All right. The third thing I want to talk about too, and this is a recruiting tip, is amateurs convince while professionals sort. I'll say that again. Amateurs convince while professionals sort. What do I mean by that? So many of us are very good at convincing people to join Family First Life. You don't need to convince anybody to join Family First Life. It is the best place to work if you have an insurance license selling life insurance, right? Here's what I can tell you. If you got to convince them to join, you got to convince them to work. And I'm not in the business of convincing people to work, right? I'd rather run with 100 than to carry 3 on my back, right? And so here's what I'm going to tell you. I live in Vegas. I'm going to explain it to you like a deck of cards, right? So in every deck of cards, there's 52 cards in the deck. Yeah. But there's also 2 jokers in there. So let's call it 54. And we've dealt with some of those. Facts, Albert. We have some jokers on our teams that we've dealt with before. Now, here's the problem though. If I flip my first card, what's the odd of me getting an ace? 1 out of 13. Less than 10%. How many of you guys like less than 10% odds? Not me, right? And we're sorting through the deck, trying to find the aces. So if I flip that first card, and that first card is a 4. The problem with how many of us build an agency is we try to convince that 4 that they're an ace. They're not an ace. They are a 4. And we stop flipping cards. And so what happens is we flip the next card. We get a jack. This is the jack bleep in your business that drives you freaking nuts. Wants to do it their way, right? Won't follow your system. That's not an ace. That's a jack, right? Flip the next card. It's a 7. And you're like, man, this agency building thing doesn't work. I flipped 4 cards over. This is a scam. But here's what I can tell you. Every card you flip, 1 out of 13 chances, right? But if I flip all 52 cards, Dave, what are my chances of finding 4 aces if I flip all 52 cards? 100%. I like having 100% odds. So the only way I can have 100% odds is if I keep on flipping, right? And so what happens is we flip the next card. It's a queen. This is the drama queen that comes into your business. And it's not always women. It can be men too, right? Flip the next card. It's a king. It's the king of problems that we deal with, right? Y'all have this guy. I'm the #1 guy in the solar industry and where I live. I'm the #1 guy in real estate. I know what to do. I've been in sales for 27 years. Cool. Then why are you doing this? Does that make sense? And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to find our ace. When you find an ace, you'll know you'll find an ace. Why? Because they don't need you. They will take a look at this business and join this business on their own without you. They will go, this makes sense. Where do I get leads? How do I call them? I'm going to go sell some insurance, right? And I'm going to go build a team too. And so like I say this because when you build a team, when you're recruiting, a lot of people, what I see is they want their friends to be more successful than their friends want to be successful themselves. And the reason why we do that is because we take a 7 and we try to make them an ace. And we shouldn't do that. All right. So next thing that I want to talk to you guys about, the person that takes you to senior sales manager is not the person that takes you to VP. And it's definitely not the person that takes you SVP, EVP, and board member. If you recruited one person and you were done, right, and you expected that one person to get you to the promised land, you're in the wrong business. It doesn't work that way, right? Andrew Taylor, in my opinion, has the best business structure out of anybody that I know. He has 7 people direct to him out of 145. Why? Because when I was brand new, I literally said, Andrew, you need me. He goes, oh, you think I need you? Watch this. Boom. Recruited Dave Witchard. Boom. Recruited Isaiah Tatamy. Boom. Recruited another stud. And I'm like, oh, Andrew really don't need us. Here's what I can tell you. When you build a team with people that don't need you, they'll perform on their own. When people feel like they need you, they have the power in your organization. And that's the reason why, going back to it, we got to continue to flip cards. We got to go find our aces, right? Andrew has 2 sets of aces, basically. All right. So remember that the people that take you to one level are not the people that take you to the next. Sometimes we try to hold on to that dearly. Like the people that helped me qualify for my logo, half those people are not here anymore. They're not even in the industry. And can you imagine if I held tight to them, right? I wouldn't be in business today, right? So I wanted to share something with you guys as well. One of the best things, and you can take this to any organization and it'll hold true, is something called taprooting, T-A-P as in Paul, root, R-O-O-T, taprooting. Now, what is taprooting? Every successful agency in Family First Life have taprooted. What taprooting is you take one person and turn them into another person, into another person, into another person, into another person. I'll give you an example. About 3 years ago, Trey Honeycutt, Joe Miller, and I held a meeting right before COVID at a hotel in Ontario or Rancho Cucamonga in California, literally a day before Christmas. Okay. Bad idea. Horrible marketing, really bad idea. And so after we told everybody we were doing this meeting, we were like, wait a second, no one's going to come to this meeting because it's literally the day before Christmas. Right. And so we were like, hey, you know what? We should probably cancel the meeting. However, if we cancel the meeting and people showed up and they called Sean or called corporate office, we're all getting our heads chopped off. That was easy. So we're like, you know what? What's the worst that we can do? Just show up to the meeting. If nobody's there in 30 minutes, we're out. See ya. Right. So we went to the meeting. And here's what's crazy. It was Trey Honeycutt, Joe Miller, myself, a brand new agent on my team who recruited a brand new agent on his team that introduced his buddy at the car dealership to our business. Now that guy came in sweats, t-shirt, flip-flops. And that guy's name now is Bruce Williams, who's our newest board member in our team. Now, why do I share that story with you? because Ulysses, who y'all don't know because he's no longer here, okay? I recruited him through his brother-in-law that I respected from a previous business venture. Ulysses was at a 40% comp selling insurance at another company. His brother-in-law said, hey, his name was Victor. Victor says, hey, I'm not interested in necessarily joining your business, but my brother-in-law has a 40% comp. Can he come work with you for a 90? I said, absolutely. We introduced him to our business. He was 19, sold insurance whenever he chose to, right? When you're 19, you don't got really like real bills yet necessarily, right? And so what happened was he would sell insurance for the first week of the month, protect like 7, 8, 10 families, and then like disappear for the next 3 weeks. Y'all have any of those? Right. And so what happened was I had to catch him on the right time to see when he actually wanted to build a team. And so like one time he was like, hey, you know what, Steve, I think I want to build a team. So I said, go post an ad, go talk to somebody, whatever you do something. Right. He posted an ad on Craigslist. This guy responded to him in Southern California. And we said, hey, we have this meeting in Vegas. You should come. It was like a pre-sales conference thing, right? Guy came out, he sat there in the back, and he at the end of the meeting, his name was Paul. Paul was like, I'm so jacked up about this. I'm going to be FFL's #1 producer. I'm going to shatter all the records. Once again, this was the Jack, this was the king. He was not an ace, but he knows an ace, right? And so Paul literally sold no insurance. But then he introduced us to Bruce, who sold a lot of insurance and built a team of a lot of people that sold a lot of insurance. Does that make sense? And I can go to my next group. I can go every single one of my groups. I introduced this business to somebody that led me to somebody that led me to somebody that introduced me to another person. And then boom, that person was a stud while everybody else is no longer here. Same thing that happened with Brandon Kitchings. Same thing that happened with Colton Dewar. Right. And I can look at every single one of your guys' agencies and something along those lines happened. The only thing is the names change. And so here's what I want you to write down. Everybody that you recruit is either a link or a leader. They're either a link or a leader. They're either a leader themselves that they're going to introduce you to a bunch of people that are going to kill it, or they're going to be a link, a connection to somebody that is a leader. Everybody's one of those two things, right? And so some of y'all go, well, my friends are a bunch of duds, man. They're a bunch of links, blah, 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 blah. Here's what I can tell you, though. They know you. Every dumb person knows a smart person. Every dud knows a stud. And every link knows a leader. And if you understand that, you can build a massive business. Right? We're not talking about recruiting here. We're talking about agency building, right? Recruiting, once again, is bringing them in the business. Agency building is keeping them in the business and getting them paid in the business. Because at the end of the day, here's what you got to understand. If you're always the best, you can't leave. If you find people that are better than you and you let them be better than you, you can eventually get off the stage. You go from being the back of the room to the front of the room to doing the presentation in front of the room, to the back of the room, to out of the room. Does that make sense? So I appreciate you guys. Hopefully this helps. If there's anything that we can do for you, please let us know. But I look forward to seeing all your guys' success. And like always, I'll see you guys at the top.